Lack of space, I must soon face the fact there's nothing there. True disgrace, I'm entering the phase of almost pulling out my hair. Help me, no storage do I see. I'm as lost as can be. I pray. That's why I need a OneDrive to keep my production alive. One last place I can go, 'cause time is running out for me. I need a OneDrive. I don't know. Then productivity will thrive. I can stop always going live. One day. I don't know, something like that. Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. And yes, if you can tell from that little bit of a song there, I still have not quite sorted out the issues regarding storage space. And I made a lot of promises last week of stuff that I was going to do upon becoming monetized, and I'm still working through a couple of those. Just to clarify, I've found one other use for the membership tier that I will discuss a little bit later. That is actually something I can deliver on and have been doing so. Just ask Emily. But for now, yeah, the main issue that I have run into this week has been, once again, just finding ways to clear things out. And it has been going better, but not by much. I've been trying a few things, basically. Apart from, I'm still hesitant to get a different external drive and try and back stuff up on there, out of fear that the exact same thing is just going to happen again. So, yeah, which does mean that even though I discovered a bunch of some of those old files in OneDrive, so I'm no longer at risk of losing everything, I'm at risk of losing some things, I still can't access a lot of them, which is, is an issue. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around exactly what is wrong with how I've been approaching this. Because on one hand, it looked like everything that I had was already synced to OneDrive, but was also on the PC itself. That's what I assumed. So of course, my process until now was remove some stuff, put it on the drive, and then that was what would free stuff up. As it turns out, that actually kind of saved a lot of the issues, because OneDrive has kept a copy of the things that I put onto the other drive, which means that it mustn't take up the same data storage. So yeah, I don't know. So in theory, I could supposedly download the online copy of whatever things I may need, and then use that version and have that be recovered. Assuming that I have enough space to even do that, I can go back to exactly where I was for the most part. I still wouldn't have some of the other stuff that was only on the drive, like some of the old EasyVid videos, which were the ones that would have led up to me. Would have been the very, very old ones that I was never able to upload in their day, like my first Pixelmon and stuff like that. So there's a real risk of those series being cancelled, but at the very least that was something. So I discovered there was some hope after all. So again, you think all I have to do is download this stuff, and then I free up a little bit of space based on whatever I have. What's up Unicorn? I mean, My Shimmering Husband, we finished it. It's off the hard drive now. It's gone from my computer forever, and that's good. But yeah, among other things, I was able to actually free up some things, and so now in theory I could just download whatever I actually need in the moment. So say that I'm working through Mutant Girl episodes, which is exactly what I'm doing. There's only one scene left to do, and it's one of my own. All I would have to do then is just use whatever I need in that moment, like some of the old, like some of the screen captures that would be used for the raw files in Scene 2 and everything. So I don't have to repeat those. But here lies the problem. The problem is that for some reason, every time I try to click on one of these, it says, you must have OneDrive Personal running on your computer. Now, this is confusing to me, because I thought that the reason that they're even on the computer now to begin with is because of OneDrive Personal. Unless I somehow have to actually just install that separately. My theory right now is that I can use the online version of OneDrive, and I can download stuff from there. But what I can't do is do that just from the File Explorer, for whatever reason. I thought of that just now, actually. But up until now, that's been an issue where I was like, okay, why is that a problem? So I tried to fix those things. One option they gave me was, oh, you can reinstall OneDrive. Or not reinstall it, sorry, you can restart it. Then they said reinstall, but first they said, oh, try restarting. So they say, okay, click on the OneDrive icon in the taskbar and do that. What icon? I didn't find one. I looked for a while, and it was not there. I tried to pin OneDrive itself to the taskbar, see if it actually would appear. I tried looking in the extended apps. Not there. Not there, not there, not there, not there. So I couldn't do that. Unfortunately, most of those options were indeed how based on that taskbar thing existing, which again, theory hat going on for a second. I think that might be because that whatever thing I've used is saying that for Windows 10 and not Windows 11 or something. I don't really know. There's not many recommendations I can say to people who want to get Windows 11. Doesn't seem the world has caught up quite yet. Yeah, I don't really know. But the other thing was, I did actually try, because I saw, I mentioned the online version of OneDrive. I saw that apparently I had 1 terabyte of storage on there to use, which is the exact same amount that the old expansion drive had on it. And some of it was already used. I think there was something like 87 gigabytes that was already used because of the, some of the backed up files, some of the stuff that I actually removed a while ago, but seem to still exist on there. Go figure. So that was interesting to find out. Yeah, so I don't, because it seems like, for the record, my computer has a 237 gigabytes limit. So yeah, in theory, OneDrive should be doing its job, and I can actually have more stuff on there than on the computer itself. So I tried doing that, and like for a while, I was actually, while My Streaming Husband Part 4 was streaming, during that whole day, I actually made, basically, I made a copy folder, and basically copy and pasted everything that was in the documents folder into there, because that was the one that was the fullest. So I was like, okay, let's do that first. Yeah, as it turns out, yeah, it just made copies, so it wasn't quite ideal. wasn't quite ideal. So then it took some time trying to sort out a few files, and every time it did that, it had to download the files from OneDrive and put them back on OneDrive a second later, which I guess means that I now have 2 copies, which again, I saw the folder remotely, everything did indeed copy successfully, but guess what? I also can't access it because I don't have OneDrive Personal on the computer, apparently. So I don't know. When I get back, I'm going to try and see if I can download stuff from the online version or something. Well, then I risk having to redirect it from the folder back into itself, which could just make a whole entire new copy. I have no clue about that. But that's where I'm at now. As it turns out, there were some files that I also just didn't need. They're like old installations for some of the Magix products, Magix being the program that makes the editing software that I use. It's like, oh, there's some of these old ones in here. Okay, delete those. That was the most freeing thing in there, which then allowed me to download 6 different videos in order to use them for the latest stream, because that was a 6-parter. And yeah, I also, so that's where I'm at now. So at least now I can actually go back to editing videos professionally. Although then again, now I guess every video edit is technically professional because, you know, I make money from YouTube videos now. So I guess it all counts. But yeah, I meant more for like the outside of YouTube sphere of things. So yeah, very much working business, even if Denethor and I guess Theoden are not. Anyway, all's well that ends well, I guess. But I mean, it hasn't ended yet, but it's ending, which means, of course, I've also been able to do what I said I was going to do back when during the work in the Great Watchhour races concluded, which was go back to focusing on the mutant girl. And yeah, a lot of that has happened. So one of the reasons I was so desperate to clear out storage, particularly this week, was because I finished another scene from there. It wasn't the super tedious one, it wasn't one of the swimming ones, which now that I've realized might never be an issue again. But yeah, it was one of those ones where like it was just a conversation between Rhaena and Julius, and then Julius's dad comes in at the end. Basically that. So, and you can see it. You can technically see what I've done, because I've actually decided, okay, if I need to free up space and I'm gonna have a risk of losing certain Mutant Girl scenes again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna back them up not on OneDrive, exclusively at least, but also on YouTube. Because now that I think about that, you know, whenever I am editing particular videos and stuff, I never thought, okay, I'm going to back these up on, you know, on unlisted or something. But guess what? I don't do them on unlisted. Remember how I said before I had a use for the membership tier at the moment? Well, guess what? I do. I have found the use. So if you sign up for my membership on YouTube, the one tier that exists right now, then you get access to the work in progress files that I have. So the scene 7 that I mentioned, because it's scene 7 of the actual episode, it's basically it's the version that doesn't have any sound effects to it. That's the state that it's in currently. I didn't put the sound effects in, but I did all the visual stuff, the syncing up of the different things, and also Aiden did some recordings for Rhaena to help me save some time. So I put those in. It's also the first scene that I have done that uses a lot more masking than before. I technically used that on Pete at one point, which is why I discovered masking in the first place. I needed a way to change the color of his shirt without having to recreate the whole scene because I messed up with chroma keying. And I secretly found a way to cheat the system so I never ever have any issues with green screening anything ever again. Apart from possibly file storage. So that's going to be an issue. I'm glad to get an echo for a second. I'm about to go through a tunnel. All right. Prepare for the reverb. That's what I used to be able to do for 5 years later. Welcome back to my street 5 years later. Should come in here more, actually. I never go down this route. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's the one. So that's a little bit to do with that. But yeah, if you want access to it, I made that to members only thing. You can see also some parts of the swimming scene that I was able to salvage because they were fortunately in my documents folder, not in the Muse and Go folder, which I then transferred to the drive, which then corrupted, which I then found out I can recover, but also can't access yet. Oh my word, it's a nightmare. So, yeah, progress, for the sake of progress, has indeed been encouraged today. And that's exactly what's been going on, so I'm going to head back and continue with that. Although now that I think about it, there is one more thing that I should mention, because technically speaking, now I've realized, yeah, the show is not quite done. Aidan and I did a call yesterday sorting out a few extra additional things because I don't know how many people know this. Probably anyone who's behind the scenes knows this, but the reason that the script for it is called The Muse and Go Goes to High School is because it was originally going to be a mid-season movie, which I then realized, okay, we've got the different acts of the movie, we're going to split those up. Aidan realized that doing that means that some things that flow right into each other kind of just abruptly end because they weren't supposed to be separate videos. We made each act into a different episode. And each act is significantly shorter. The ulterior motive that he has, of course, is that he likes long episodes of The Mutant Girl and is prepared to sacrifice his free time in order to keep the runtime of the videos up, which is honourable on his part, but also thoroughly unnecessary at times. So we went through and decided, okay, what is it we do actually need to add in these particular in these particular episodes, you know, to what is now episode 2 and 3. So we did that, and he came up with an idea that we actually have a little bit of a oh wait, no, that's the final episode. I was gonna say, because I thought it was like, oh wait, you know, we're not done because he added an extra part into this episode, but no, I don't think that happened this time. But yeah, that's one thing we have to consider. We're going to probably be doing another audition relatively soon because we've actually reintroduced characters who were supposed to be cast for the actual season when that was a separate thing, but now we put them into the main thing, so we're going to have to actually do that at some point. And also do some backups for, you know, the voice actors who find themselves frequently indisposed. Like Empress, for example. We need an Empress backup, that's for sure. Just in case. So that's going to be happening soon. But yeah, I think that's everything for now. So I mean, productivity continues to increase. Kind of reminds me a little bit of my first year of university, where I was like, oh well, this is what did you do this weekend? Oh well, I worked on this, that, and the other. It's back to that, except for I have more of a justification now to do it. Justification, of course, being money. And speaking of that, after the hard drive issue gets sorted, I haven't actually made any withdrawals yet, so I'm not exactly like, you know, taking money that I said I promised to other people I would deliver. I need to work out what I can actually afford, considering how historically the series is done, and then and then apply that, and also just like how many voice actors are supposed to be like on that payroll. So I'm going to be making a spreadsheet sometime. That's priority number 2 after hard drive getting fixed. I also recorded another video that was able to actually do new content at last, like an edit and post. I remember when I started doing streams, I was like, oh well, this is going to be a relief while I work on a few other things, and that just took over entirely. So we'll see how that performs. But we'll see soon enough. For now, please leave a like or dislike, because your opinion matters. And subscribe if you've done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.